of all, I think the positive attitude of the role that Nevada agriculture can play in Nevada's economic future is one of the really refreshing new developments. In September of this year, I will celebrate my 25th anniversary as the Executive Vice President of Nevada Farm Bureau. And over that 25-year period, I don't recall that there's ever been as much positive vibes as I'm seeing right now in agriculture, especially in this particular community, in this particular area. The sense of the optimism is being demonstrated in the current legislative session. We're likely seeing the expansion of the Nevada Department of Agriculture. A session ago, we were very concerned that we were even going to be able to have a Department of Agriculture. And this session, we're seeing a fairly significant expansion across the board. We're also seeing a lot of opportunities provided through bills like the cottage industries, farm to fork, and even the raw milk bill, which we have opposed. But just the entrepreneurial attitudes that are emerging and looking at agriculture from that standpoint. The positive emphasis that we're seeing in this community with the urban agricultural producers and the philosophic improvements as far as the sense of how important food production is, I think, is another very strong building block on which to build. On a statewide basis, looking at it from an economic perspective, the expanding visions of what Nevada agriculture can become, expanding crop production into more commodity areas, as well as the potential for the significant increase in the potential size of the Nevada dairy industry linked to the dairy plant being built in the Fallon area. From a challenges standpoint, I think that the segmentation and division within the agricultural sector is probably what I consider and what I spend the most time working on, as far as there seems to be this approach of building one production system up through a deliberate downgrading of others, and I think that's a very serious challenge that we have to somehow address within our own ranks. The ability to maintain adequate natural resources, and those natural resources, I think, that are a challenge include the ability to use federally managed lands and the sufficient water resources for production agricultural use. The water is related to both the issue of drought conditions as well as the other various activities that are geared to converting the necessary agricultural water resources to other uses. Overall, I think, and it's something, for those of you who don't know of my background, I'm a Minnesota farm boy, and coming to the West and seeing the differences in much of the infrastructure that we take for granted in the Midwest agriculture is non-existent in rural Nevada. And so I think that the infrastructure and technical support is one of the big challenges, including the relevant Nevada-oriented agricultural research and development programs. Sage grouse and other pending unfolding federal actions have the potential to harm, perhaps even devastate operations for farmers and ranchers across the state. On a business standpoint, I believe that the consequences of the teachers' union margin tax, which will be part of the 2014 election process, is very significant in terms of the challenge that has to be addressed. And a major reason for that is the concern and how the optimism that we're considering as being so important is linked to the expansion of the dairy production segment and the way that trickles through the other segments of the ag economy. And based on some of the initial discussions that we had, even the testimony that we had presented at the Nevada legislature when there was a hearing on the margins tax, I think that of all of the segments of Nevada agriculture who will be hurt the hardest by a margins tax would be the dairy industry. And I think there's going to be a trickle effect that comes from that. that could very easily derail much of the opportunities that we're trying to build. You could easily see a scenario where we will be importing milk from other states to provide the necessary milk to use the economic development that we're trying to get with the dairy plant, and it'll be because some of the dairy producers in Nevada won't be able to afford to stay in business because of the market tax. So I think that's going to be a very critical issue. I want to quickly move to going beyond the assignment. It seemed to me that just recognizing the opportunities and the threats wasn't enough. That we really needed to look at considering action steps that require commitment and some attention. And I believe that the important thing that we need to give is an effort to growing Nevada agriculture to be more than what it is today. And that, in my mind, treading water is a good way to get drowned. And so I think we have to determine how we can move forward in an expanding type of vision for what we think Nevada agriculture can be and what it should become. I think various parts of the state's agricultural sector need to partner and work together more. I think there's a number of opportunities for traditional agriculture to link together with urban and emerging agricultural producers, jointly benefiting each other. Mentoring programs and developing new agricultural producers through programs like Herds and Harvest offered by Cooperative Extension, I think are extremely important and give some support that might be needed. Through this program, we are seeing attention given to build potential agricultural entrepreneurs better prepared with skills that go beyond production techniques and those skills that go with just production. I also think that we need to be relevant. Nevada's oriented agriculture applied research emphasis needs to be given more attention, and that I'm not sure that we're getting where we're going in that particular direction. And I think we need to put some concentrated effort into enhancing and the agricultural sector needs to engage more deeply in the emphasis on agricultural research and development.